let's go. Come on.
Okay,
What are you doing? What are you doing? We don't have room for that. No, we don't have room for that. Look, we all left our stuff over there. Just leave your stuff there. We've got to go. Come on. Dude, we are running out of time. Come on.
Okay, fine. Gosh.
We all have an invisible box of hopes, dreams, and desires when it comes to our relationship, right? If you're dating, if you're engaged, if you're married, maybe if you're waiting on dating, we all have a box. It might be undefined for some of us, but we all have a box of hopes, dreams, and desires when it comes to our dating relationship, right? We hope that maybe so-and-so will do the dishes because I'm not doing the dishes, okay? How many, you're like me, you don't do dishes, okay? Yeah, that's me, I don't do dishes. And so you have hopes, dreams, and desires as it relates to your dating relationship. We all do. We all have hopes, dreams, and desires. And so just to kind of catch you up before we kind of jump into the content for today, I want to give you part 1 and 2, what we talked about, right? It should be on the screen here if you see you direct your attention. So for first part 1, we talked about submission competition, right? If you missed it, you got to go watch it, right? Guys, it's a submission competition. Not just the women should submit, but husbands are to submit to one another out of what? Reverence for Christ. So we're all responsible to submit to one another. And then we also talked about that we also talked about that they owe each other everything, but are not owed anything in return, right? So that was part 1. We all, whether it's our hopes, dreams, desires, we all owe each other everything, okay? But we expect nothing in return, right? It's the kind of idea of loving one another, right? If I love you so much, I'm going to do everything in my power to make you happy, to make you have a wonderful relationship, but I'm not going to expect anything in return as a result of it. And that was kind of the first habit that we should kind of, pick up and start to do in our relationships, whether it's your significant other, if you're engaged, if you're moving toward a significant relationship. It's the idea of we owe each other everything but are owed nothing in return. And then today, I kind of want to, I know the past couple of weeks we've leaned in heavily on couples and of engaged or married couples. And so today I kind of want to give us, the single people in the room, those of you that are waiting on dating, I want to kind of give you some content in the front end as we kind of move into the rest of the series here to see how this is applicable to you. Because it is. There we go. And so let me. I don't explain this very well, so you have to follow along with me, okay? But right now is your present tense, okay? So right now is your present tense, and someday your present tense will become your past tense. That's just the reality. Right now is your present, okay? Woohoo! It's the present. You love it. It's enjoy it. It's great. But someday your present tense will become your past. You follow me? Did you get that? Okay. So this right now, at this stage of your dating life, it's your present. You're enjoying it, you're loving it, but someday you're going to look back on it. And here's the thing, single people, since I'm talking to single people, a lot of married people didn't know this, right? No one told us, and so I'm telling you, now you're going to be so much smarter because of it, okay? So a lot of married people, they thought, you know what, I'm going to get married. It's going to be, I'm going to do it in the morning to emphasize it's a brand new day. It's a brand new journey. I'm getting married, and I'm cutting off my ties with the past, right? This is a brand new me. I'm stepping into a new journey. This is the past of the past. I'm leaving that behind. And they didn't tell us this, but your past, okay, your past comes with you. It shows up. Okay, you're not getting. So let me explain it this way, okay? Let me explain it this way. The present, okay, the present will be your past, which will be present in your future, okay? So the present, okay, that is, as your relationship right now, how you date right now, your present will be your past, that is, you're going to look back on it someday, that which will be present, that is going to show up in your future. And not a lot of people told us this, okay? If you're married like me, they don't tell us this. It was in a class on this, okay? But that's what happens is that our past shows up in our future. So, there's a lot of things that get us married people in trouble, right? And we call it it's another thing that gets us into trouble. I call it the right person myth, right? We thought that, man, someday I'm going to marry the right person, right? That's actually what it means. It says there's two. If I marry the right person, then everything will be all right. Right? If I can only find the right person, then everything will be all right. It'll take care of itself. I'll find the right person, and the right person will date. They won't do anything to make me want to be patient because they're the right person, right? No, it's not true, right? It's the right person myth. And then there's the second option, too, which is like when I meet the right person, everything will be all right. Let's just all say that together, okay? On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. When I meet the right person, everything's going to be all right. That's what we thought. Thought that, man, hey, when I meet the right person, I don't have to worry about me being the right person. I just know that when I meet the right person, everything's gonna be all right. Look, they're gonna have all the finances in order, right? They're gonna have a schedule in order. They're gonna have a calendar in order. Like, we're gonna spend all the holidays with my family, not their family. Like it's gonna be the right person, and everything's gonna be perfect. Everything's gonna be right. We're gonna live happily ever after. But how many of you know that's not true? Because what happens in your past shows up in your future. It just does. It's pesky. It's irritating. It's annoying. It's a gnat. It won't go away. But it shows up in our future. It just does. So, I have a question for you as we kind of move in to the content. I want you to think about this as we kind of jump in. Are you the person you're looking for is looking for? Yeah? Are you the person you're looking for is looking for? Because look, the person that you're looking for, they're thinking the same thing. Man, one day I'm going to find the right person. I'm not going to have to do anything. Look, they're going to be the right person. They're going to be perfect. And they're thinking the same thing you're thinking. And so when you meet the right person, you're both thinking, look, I finally found the right person. The train, it's just, with the movie theater. It's okay. We got to deal with it. I finally found the right person. And now the right person is going to do everything. And I'm not going to have to be patient. Like, she's going to be loving. He's going to be kind. He's going to consider my thoughts. He's going to consider my options. He's going to consider where I want to go on a date. Right? He's going to consider, like, hey, maybe he should bring me lunch on Mondays, Jamie. Right? Right? We're going to have expectations of the other person. My in-laws are here today, so I have to be my best behavior. But we'll see how it goes. So are you the person you're looking for is looking for? It's an important question. You got to ask yourself, are you becoming? Another way to ask is this, are you becoming the right person? Are you becoming the right person? No one told us this. No one, there wasn't a seminar. No one told us, like, hey, you make sure you become the right person. Make sure you become the right person. No one told us this. So I'm telling you, and you're going to be so much smarter because of it, because I'm telling you this. Are you the person you're looking for is looking for? All right? It's a myth. It's pesky. It's irritating. It shows up in your future. It does. It just does. And so ask yourself as we jump in, are you becoming the person you're looking for is looking for? Right? Are you becoming the right kind of person? So, we talked about, right, they have a choice. I'm sorry, we talked about one. It's a submission competition. It just is. It's a submission competition. Right? Because happily ever after couples know that they owe each other everything, but are not owed everything nothing in return. It's just keystone habits for happily couples. They know they owe each other everything, but they don't owe anything in return. This is how you live happily ever after. And then also, what we're going to talk about today is that they have a choice. Happily ever after couples know that they have a choice. You have a choice. I have a choice. We all have a choice. I know what you're thinking. Oh, I have a choice to love, and what is love, and And how do I love? And how do I love the person next to me when I have expectations? We talked about this last week, right? My box of hopes, dreams, and desires. Right? How do I take this box and still keep what's in it, but also not make it expectations for the other person? Because that's what oftentimes happens, right? This box that we have, that we carry around, maybe we got it from our past relationship, or our family, or maybe our mom and dad did it a certain way, our grandpa, our grandma did it a certain way, or we saw something in culture, and so we take that box into another relationship, and we kind of say to, hey, make this come true, and it becomes expectation for that other person. So how do we live with what's in our box? How do we keep what's in our box and not make it an expectation for the other person? So Paul in Scripture gives us some content of how we could manage this expectations. And not just manage the expectations and keep what's in our box, but he also talks about how we can become the right person. Right? Because no one told us married people this, like, hey, one day your past is gonna show up in your future. No one told us that. So Paul says, look, this is how you become the person you're looking for. This is how you do it. This is how you kind of come on that path of, this is how you find the right person, right? Because it's a myth, it's out there, but it's not true. You got to be prepared for this. Okay, now I need to say this in the front end. If you're not like if you're like a sports dater, I don't know what to call them, what the term is. If you're like a recreational dater, okay, you might not love this sermon. Okay, you might not. But if you're, I don't know what the term is for that. Like, you know, casual. Okay, what? Oh, there it is. If you're a serial dater, okay? You might not love this, okay? Because you might not be interested in becoming the right person. But for those of you that are interested in becoming the right person and maybe you're moving into a significant relationship or you're going towards a committed relationship, okay? That's really good, serial. I love that. It should be a podcast or something, should it not? So if you're interested in moving in that direction towards becoming the right person, then what I'm going to talk about today is going to be helpful for some of you, right? Even if you're waiting on dating, you're like, there's no prospects around here. Like there's nobody. I'm not scouting. You know, I'm in the back. I'm just waiting on dating. Hey, this is going to be something that's going to be helpful for you. Or maybe if you are dating, if you're moving into if you're married, right? This is going to help you even become a better person, that the person you shouldn't be looking anymore, right? Become the person that you need to become in that committed relationship. And so how do you become that person? Because that's really important that we're preparing for the significant other. We're preparing for the future relationship. We're seasoning, right? We're massaging ourselves so that we can become the person that we're looking for is looking for. So Paul starts off and he says this. He says, love is patient. Just practicing with you. It's patient. Love is patient. Love doesn't pressure the other person into doing something that they want you to do. Ladies, look, if there's somebody that's pressuring you into becoming somebody that you know that you don't want to become, right? If there's somebody that you know that if you do something is going to become part of your regret story, right? Love doesn't pressure the other person. It doesn't. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is kind. And we don't like that word because it's kind of weak. It's kind of weak, you know. But there's another word. It's considerate. Love is always taking into consideration the thoughts of the other person. It's always taken into consideration of the other person. Love is considerate. It's not only considerate, but it does not envy. It does not envy. Love doesn't get jealous quickly, right? Love doesn't get jealous. Love is, look, if you're going to go on a date, right? Maybe if you're dating, you're going on a date someday with that significant other. You're sitting across the table from them, and you're having a great dinner at Maggiano's, right? Come on, somebody, right? You're having a good dinner at Maggiano's, and you're sitting there, and you're having a good conversation, and they share an awesome story about, they caught a fish, right? A 30-pound bass. What? Love doesn't say, what? Okay, let me tell you about my story. No. Love says, that's awesome. What? Let me feel those muscles. Okay, what? You caught a 30-pound bass? Right? Love leans in. It doesn't try to one-up the person with another story. Love doesn't envy. It's not jealous. Love doesn't boast. It does not boast. It is not proud. I know what you're thinking, right? Some of you, you're waiting on dating. Akeem, that sounds like the worst date ever. That sounds like that sounds like a bad church service. Like, I'm gonna go to the door and hey, we're here. Come on, let's get in the car. I'm gonna be patient. I'm patient. Let you in the car. We're gonna go on a date. And hey, you be patient. I'll be kind. And we shall not envy. And we'll have a dinner. And we'll sit across the food. And we'll patiently wait for our food. And we won't envy the person that has another plate across from us. And hey, I'll drive you home. No expectations. I get to the door. Patiently say goodbye. And say, hey, I'll see you later. No expectations, right? It's just like that sounds like that sounds like a terrible date. But let me ask you a question. Right, and for some of you, this might hit home for you. But for those of you that maybe grew up in a home that maybe it was complicated with your parents, maybe they divorced, maybe they broke up. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that your parents, right? Do you think that if they were more patient with one another, that it would have affected you a different way? Do you think if your father was more kind to your mother, if he was more considerate of your mother, then it would have affected you a different way? You think if your mom wasn't so boastful, if she wasn't so envious that she didn't try to one-up your father, you think you would have grew up in a better home that could have created a better environment for you? Do you think if your father was less proud and he actually owned up to his mistakes, and he was able to admit that he was wrong, then that would have done wonders for you? And the answer is yes. A little dose of patience and kindness and not boasting and being proud, just a little dose, look, it would have done wonders for you. So the answer is yes. And then Paul, he says, it does not dishonor others. It's not self-seeking. You know what dishonor is? It says, look, if it's dishonoring to you, if this is dishonoring to you, then guess what? Then I'm just going to decide not to do it. Love says, if it's dishonoring to you, if it's dishonoring to this other person, then I'm going to decide not to do it. I'm not going to be a part of someone's regret story. I'm not going to create a memory for someone that's going to that I'll regret, that they'll probably regret in the future. I'm not going to be a part of that story. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Right? Who can do that? But wouldn't you love to be in a relationship with somebody who can actually do that? Right? They keep no records of wrongs. And then Paul, he says something that's a little strange that we'll come back to a little bit later. He says, love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It's kind of strange. What does that mean? Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. And then he gives this like rapid fire list of what love is. He says, love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love always protects. Always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love always protects. And I don't know about you, but when I read this a couple years ago, when I became a Christian, when I read this, I thought, man, this is kind of interesting. Like, I read that list, and it's kind of bothered me a little bit, maybe because of the version I was reading, but it kind of bothered me a little bit because if you look at the list, one of these don't belong there almost. It's like, I don't know. And here's the reason. This is my opinion. But here's the reason why. It's because one of these, it's like, it's dependent on the lover. I'm sorry, it's not dependent on the lover, but it's dependent on the lovee. And it's this one right here, always trust. Always trust. I can always hope. I can always hope for a better relationship. I can always be patient, right? I can always protect, okay? I understand I can protect the weaknesses of my spouse or my significant. I can protect that, right? I can always protect. I can always hope. I can always believe the best, right? And that's all on me. I can always persevere. It's going to be some difficult relationship, but hey, guess what? I'm going to persevere through it. That's dependent upon me. But always trust, that's kind of naive. Because that's not dependent on me, it's dependent on the lovee. And here's the thing. From time to time, in every relationship, and I want to illustrate this way for you. From time to time, in every relationship, this is just the reality, right? If you've been dating for a couple weeks, if you've been dating for a month, if you've been dating for a year, if you've been married for a couple years, it's going to happen. You can't help it. It's going to happen. From time to time, in every relationship, there is this balance of expectations and experience. So actually, I'm going to need some people to help me kind of illustrate this idea for me. I need two people who might be interested. You want to come up? Come on up. Somebody else, another guy. Where's Oscar? Where did he go? Get over here, Oscar. Come on. Give these guys a round of applause. Come on. I want you to stand right here. Oscar, you can come over this side right here. There you go. Now, I told you, I did tell you about when I bring you up here. Did I tell you I was going to bring you up here? No. What's your favorite food?
Probably Jamaican food.
Jamaican food. Awesome. Is there significance behind that?
No, I had it once. It was very good, and I kept having it.
Yeah. Was it in Oakland?
It was in Jamaica.
Jamaica. That makes sense. Okay, so Jamaican food. What about you? Italian. Now, are you guys aren't dating? Are you? This will be awkward for you. Okay. You're not dating?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. So you're not dating. That's good. So no, not like that's bad or good. Stop it. Okay, stop it. Who knows? I mean, after this conversation, after this illustration, you might, this is what happens when you come to Storyline. You might meet somebody, and your stories intersect, and there's kids after that, and you never know. No pressure. This isn't awkward at all. And so, and you're a good-looking guy. Like, isn't he like a good-looking guy? Come on, this guy is good-looking. I feel like we could be brothers, And so there's in every relationship, okay. These two, they're not in a relationship. I just want to clarify that, okay. But in every relationship, there is a gap, okay. There's what you expect is going to happen, and then what you experience. There's always going to be a gap, right? So-and-so said, look, I'm going to be home for dinner at this time, and they weren't there, right? I'm going to pick up the kids from after work. They weren't there. Look, I'm going to make sure that, hey, I'll take care of the budget. You don't have to worry about it. I'll take care of the finances. Look, when there's a gap, because there's a gap of what we expect and what we actually experience. And here's the thing, people. Come on, singing people. People don't tell us this, so I'm telling you, you'll be so much smarter because of it. Look, in this gap, you have a choice. There it is. You have a choice every single time of what you're going to fill inside of this gap. That's just the reality. So you can always, there's only two options: believe the best, or you can assume the worst. It's just a gap. It's a reality. It's what I expect. This is what my father did. This is what my mom did. This is what my last boyfriend did. This is what my last girlfriend did. This is what my last engagement. This is what they did. But then there's what you experience. Okay, they fell short. They did not come through. They did not come through for you. And now you have an opportunity to fill this gap. And you can either fill the gap with believing the best or assuming the worst. And here's the thing, okay? It's just the reality. Like, man, you're gonna do dishes every Tuesday, Akeem, and I still haven't done dishes yet. Okay? You're gonna make sure that you provide for me, okay? And I started a church. I'm gonna provide for you know what I'm saying. You know, like, I'm kidding, I'm making fun. But hey, there's an expectation. There's an expectation. You have expectations in your relationship. But oftentimes is that, man, that expectation, they're going to drop the ball. They're not going to follow through. It's not going to meet up with your experience. And what starts to happen is that, man, you start to kind of becomes a stake. It becomes a stake. You just kind of drill it down, and you hold on to it. You hold on to it. And this is what happens when you assume the worst, is that you're just holding on to it. So as I mentioned before, my in-laws were coming to town, and I think this was like, Jay, are you in here? I think you can confirm or deny. But it was like Friday, I think it was, that I picked you up from work. And so don't laugh at me, okay? On Friday, I picked you up from work, and we were on our way home, and it's Dad's birthday tomorrow, right, Dad? It's tomorrow? Yeah, it's Dad's birthday tomorrow. Yeah, you can give it up for him. It's Dad's birthday tomorrow. And so we're going to make a cake. I'm not sure if they told you yet, but surprise. We're going to make a cake for his birthday. And so Jamie and I were in the car, and is that getting heavy? Okay, you're good. You're pretty strong. And so we're going to make a cake. Well, let me clarify. Jamie's going to make the cake, and I'm probably going to participate. And so she was in the passenger. I'm driving. We're going home. And she says to me, I asked her, hey, are you still going to make that cake for Dad? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to make the cake. And I said, okay, so what kind of cake are you making? And she said, I was just thinking about that. What about like a carrot chocolate cake? And I love carrots. I don't like chocolate, you know. And I was like, that sounds good, but what if it's like, she asked for my opinion. So I'm gonna give it. I said, what about like I like the idea of carrot, but what about like caramel? How many of you like caramel? Nobody? That's sad. What kind of church is this? Right? I said, what about caramel cake? Caramel cake? I mean, a carrot cake? That sounds really good. It's alliterated. It's gonna be awesome, right? I guess you should do that. And she said, I don't know if he likes that. Like, I said, but I'm sure he'll enjoy it. We're all gonna, eat this cake, and he'll like it. He'll like it. And she said, that sounds disgusting. I said, it's amazing. My mother made it for me all the time. And she said, I don't care what your mother made you. And I just looked out the window. I didn't say anything. And so that's what happens sometimes. I could have got offended. And I did, We talked about it a little bit later. But you've been holding it for too long. That's just what happens. It's just, you get in a relationship, and from time to time, they just don't follow through. It starts to become a little bit heavy. There's just this weight that you're kind of holding on to, right? You want to grab that one for me? And it becomes a weight. And what happens in the relationship, we start to assume the worst, right? You never did, like, what's going on behind me? You can put it in there. Like, you said you would stop, and you started, but you didn't stop, and he said he would do that, but he never followed through, and come on. Like, there's this gap. And what we're doing is we're filling the gap every single time. And you could either assume the worst, or you can believe the best. And what kind of happens is there's this gap that was there, and you had a choice, I have a choice, we all have a choice to fill in the gap. And oftentimes is that when we fill in the gap, when we assume the worst, he's always late. She always spends the money. I'm used to it. I kind of figured that'd be the case by now. It's okay. It's okay. I understand. This is what she always does. This is what he always do. What happens is that you're driving a stake in the relationship. I love the call of worship today that Damon was talking about. Look, the enemy's out to divide you. He is. The Bible says that every good gift comes from above, right? A relationship, a significant other, that spouse. It's a good gift that was given to you because it was given to you by God, and it's a good gift. And it's a beautiful thing. It's relationship. You get to love the person. You get to receive love from that person. It's a relationship that we all have, and it's a gift that comes from above. But the Bible also says that the devil's out to destroy and to kill and to steal. He's out to divide you. And now, because you've just been filling in that gap with assuming the worst, what happens is now you've driven a stake, and it's now divided your relationship. Because you were, watch this, you were offended. It's so easy to get offended. Just one small thing, one little thing. Man, if there's a superpower that I could develop, it'd be to not get offended. And we get offended so easily. And what happens is that now we've built a fence built on a fence. And now it's standing between us and our relationship. And by the way, this is what the devil's trying to do to the church. Because marriage is a picture of God and the church. And he's trying to drive a stake. He's trying to cause a divide between the church. He's trying to do it in your relationship. He's trying to divide you. But if only we could find somebody that was, right? That was also offended. If only we could find somebody that was offended because of what we said, because of what someone did to him. If only we could find somebody that say, because of what you've done, and he was offended because you sinned against him, you hurt the person next to you, hurt the person behind you, you hurt the you next to you. If only we could find somebody that was actually offended and took on that offense and died for us. So you know what we should do when we're offended? Just drop it. So polite. Just drop it. Because you don't have to carry your offense because he carried it for you. You don't have to be offended when so-and-so doesn't follow through. When she said that she would call you, but she never texts you back. When you slid into her DMs, but she never responded. You don't have to be offended. Because Jesus was offended for you. And he bore the sins of mankind. So guess what? We don't have to be offended. We can just drop it. And fill in the gap with believing the best. Every single time. This is what it means to always trust. This is what it means, that verse that was kind of weird that I mentioned earlier. This is what it means to believe the best. Right? It's not in evil, but in truth. It's speaking truth into that person's life. You're always believing the best. What's the other option? What's the other option? Okay, well, the other option is, lay a trap, wait for him, he'll step in eventually, and then you can say, okay, I knew it. You always do that. Is that the option? But love always trusts. It always protects. It always hopes. It always believes the best. This is what it means to becoming the right person. And guess what? You have a choice every single time. In the moment, it doesn't feel like it because the tension and the temperature is rising in the relationship. It doesn't feel like it, but you always have a choice to fill in the gap. It's your choice every single time. So my recommendation is this. Come up with the most generous explanation of the other person and believe it. Find the most generous explanation that you never think of and believe it. Oh, he's late. Oh, she's late. I don't have all the information right now, but I'm sure when they get here, they'll explain everything, and it'll make perfect sense. Fill in the gap. You have a choice every time. Fill in the gap and choose, here it is, choose to trust. Come up with the most generous explanation and believe it every single time. And I guess you what? This will make you go further, faster in your relationship. This will help you get less offended. This will not drive a stake, will not build a fence, will not build a case in between you and that significant other. But you just choose to let it go and drop it and believe the best of that other person. That's what Jesus did. For he has broken down the middle wall of partition that is between you. There was a wall that was between you and him, and he went right through the barrier, and he stepped over and said, I don't care what you've done, what you've said, what you've been. I don't care who you are. I don't care your past mistakes. I don't care your future mistakes. I love you. And here, you can have my hand. I'll walk with you. I'll walk with you throughout your entire journey, in your loneliness, in your singleness, in your waiting on dating, in your engagement, in your marriage when it's complicated and complex. Look, hey, I'm going to be with you every single time, because it doesn't matter how many times you've offended me or offended the person next to you. Look, I love you, and I'm going to lay down my life for you. So choose to trust. Choose to trust. And believe the best of the other person. Let me pray for us. God, thank you so much.